On October 7th, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared war on October 7th of last year during the terrorist attack by the Palestinians against Israel. And he stated some goals for the war, one of which was to eliminate Hamas, another was to bring back the hostages. Of course, neither of those uh, happened because the thing with war is, you should have clear goals, but there's a difference between stated goals and things you're actually acting in order to achieve. Um, a beauty pageant contestant saying that all she dreams of is world peace does not mean that whatever she is doing will actually bring about world peace. And Netanyahu's actions during the war have certainly caused setbacks for Hamas in their mission of killing all the Jews. But they are coming nowhere near, and we're almost a year into this war, nowhere near eliminating Hamas, and Hamas's military capabilities as well. What this war has done and the way Israel has chosen to fight it is send a very clear message to the many others in the Middle East who would like to see the Jews removed by killing from the region. It has sent that message to the Lebanese, the Hezbollah, who daily are attacking Israel, including 30 or more rockets today. The north of Israel is basically uninhabitable, and the people living there are now refugees in their own country. The refugees that you don't hear about. You hear about other refugees in the region. Um, and since October 7th, Iran attacked Israel for the first time. And the Houthis from Yemen have fired many rockets and drones at Israel, including one today that actually hit. Now, it's not 100% clear what happened, but from reports, it appears that Israel tried to shoot it down several times unsuccessfully, and eventually it kind of hit the missile, but not or the rocket, but not the warhead, and it fell very close to Israel's international airport, the only real serious international airport in Israel, uh, which of course, if you try to shoot down a missile and you have difficulty and it hits close to the airport, it means that the airport is vulnerable. It means that the enemy could hit it eventually. If it was so difficult to shoot down one rocket, imagine several at a time. So, yeah, and we've talked about the fact that Israel's defense strategy is defending. It is defending and not attacking, not going on the attack, or not fully going on the attack, and trying to shoot down missiles and rockets, which it has great technology to do, but is not sufficient, does not ever eliminate the threat when you shoot down a rocket. And in some cases, even when you shoot them down, it gives information to the enemy. Hezbollah's attacks in the north of Israel, without a doubt, are information gathering activities, even when they don't kill Israelis. So, yeah, with this further attack and with the daily attacks from Lebanon and with the Palestinian people continuing to fight in Gaza and in the West Bank, when will Israel finally do something? Welcome to the Daily Objective. James, when will Israel finally act properly?
My brother, from all indications, not in our lifetime. We can scream bloody murder as we do here. Wouldn't think about it. Iran launches literally hundreds of missiles and drones at Israel. And victory consists of blocking all of it. Only one Bedouin child got killed in that horrific assault from one nation to another. And now victory is what? Victory is simply being able to shield the blow, mostly. It's not a question of taking it back to the aggressors. And by the way, Iran is the supplier of all of these aggressors against Israel. But Israel is fighting a multi-front war, as you're pointing out. They're being attacked from all sides. We know attacks have come from Hezbollah affiliates, Hamas, the Houthis, and directly from the Islamic Republic of Iran. But taking it directly to the Houthis or Hezbollah or Iran is somehow not on. But even taking it fully to Hamas is not on the radar, which is incredible to me. We should have wiped out, or Hamas should be non existent months ago. What are we doing at this point? As you say, they regard some successful shielding as some great victory. It is not. Victory doesn't even begin to happen until you directly take it to all of the bad guys. And I mean all of the bad guys. So, frankly, the damage to Ben Gurion Airport is outrageous. We know as a fact it came from one, at least, of these hostile parties who have already attacked Israel in multiple ways and multiple times. All of these people should be attacked. And, frankly, it doesn't much matter to me whether the Houthis were the ones responsible for this damage to Ben Gurion Airport or not. The Houthis must be attacked aggressively, and their capacity must be wiped out. Hezbollah must be attacked decisively. Their capacity must be wiped out. Oh, and by the way, America has got to help in taking care of the problem from Iran, the source of this. And don't forget, the Houthis have not just tried to strike in Israel. They have also attacked American and British military forces in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, trying to keep an important international trade route open. These people are attacking civilization as such. And no one, not America, when it comes to Iran or the Red Sea, not Israel, when it comes to Hezbollah and the Houthis. And it doesn't really matter. They've all attacked Israel, and all of them. We don't even begin to address the issue until we start assaulting them directly, taking care of them at the source. But you ask, well, yeah, not. I doubt it will happen in our lifetimes, Razi, no matter how eloquent our arguments, demonstrations, and moral proofs. I'm afraid it's going into deaf ears, if it's going into ears at all.
Well, we'll continue to try to convince those who need to be convinced. I'm also not optimistic about our chances of success, but as always, I hope I'm wrong. Thank you, Bonnie, for the super chat. Thank you, Jonathan, for the super chat, and thank you, PC, for the super chat. PC says Israel is too nice in all this. PC also says he's flying to Israel in 3 weeks on El Al. Well, I don't think you have many other options because most airlines are not, of suspended flights to Israel. I hope it's a safe trip. I myself am avoiding traveling to Israel because the fact that the country is surrounded by enemies that want to wipe it off the map, and it refuses to fully act to defend itself. Is
Thousands of Israelis just in northern Israel have been displaced, as Razi points out. We can see these attacks coming from both the Houthis and Hezbollah, and they can reach northern Israel easily. You're flying into Ben Gurion Airport, my friend. Please, please take great care. There are missiles flying, there are drones flying in that area from multiple aggressive sources. Please be safe, and please think through what you're doing.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't want to ruin PC's trip. I don't want to ruin anybody's trip, but especially not a super chatter. But yeah, there is the threat, from. I mean, the fact that this was close to the airport is terrifying because you say, take extra care. There's no extra care you can take if you're sitting on a plane. You are at the mercy of the extent to which Israel wants to defend itself. So, and once you're on the ground, there's additional threats. So sorry again, but I hope it's a fun and safe trip, and it should be fun if it's safe because it is a great place to visit. Bit too hot, even in September for my liking, but there's air conditioning. Unlike the UK, there is air conditioning in Israel. Uh, yeah, James, what were you saying? We couldn't hear that.
You could say the same about Southern California. It gets a little hot in the summer.
True, but Southern California also has air conditioning. In the UK, hopefully we'll get that at some point.
Hey, catch up to civilization.
There's a couple of things I have to say, but I want to answer its question. She says, unrelated to today's topic, could you please explain the difference between the YouTube membership and the one through the ARCUK website, for example, the Inner Circle versus Platinum? Yeah. So basically, through the YouTube membership, you get access to live streams on the Inner Circle level for live streams of, I believe, pretty much everything that is in the Platinum level, except the Philosophy Forum, although we might change that. and you get recordings, but for a limited time, as opposed to the platinum membership. And on the platinum membership, you get to join the Zoom calls as opposed to YouTube live streams. Then again, the Inner Circle membership does give you access to a production meeting that we do that we live stream at least once a week, although almost every week it's been two. We're committing to one a week, but we're going to try to do more than that. And yeah, if you have any more questions, contact us through the website and we'll answer. Right. So, the thing with Israel not acting is the extent of Israel's abilities to act, which have been brought into question, certainly after October 7th. But those questions are often answered. For example, a few days ago, and again, this is an operation we have limited information about, and I'm glad we do. We don't need to know everything that Israel does and how. We just need it done. There was an operation in Syria which involved soldiers on the ground in Syria. So there was, they came in through helicopters, and there were planes that were making sure the area is secure, and they went in and took some Iranian officials. That is impressive stuff. And if Israel can do that, Israel can do a lot, in Yemen, certainly in southern Lebanon, but in the rest of Lebanon if necessary. But in Yemen, possibly in Tehran, it's been suggested that this mission was in part to signal to Iran that Israel can operate on the ground in enemy territory as well, although going to be more difficult to do so in Iran than in Syria, but it is necessary. But this only highlights the point that Israel, if it has the abilities, why isn't it doing so? And another piece of speculation is the U.S. election is coming up. Uh, Biden probably doesn't want Israel, well, not probably, we know from him, he doesn't want Israel to escalate the situation. Yeah, when somebody says we want to kill all you people, you don't want to escalate by defending yourself. And look, if this is the policy, maybe he's waiting for Trump, who he thinks will be better for Israel, which is not going to be a tall order considering the current administration. But are you seriously waiting? Are you saying, okay, look, whatever they manage to do between now and January 20th, if Trump is president, we'll let them get away with and we'll just try to shoot down stuff? I mean, these are your citizens. This is the responsibility of the government. Yeah, it's terrible if Israel doesn't have America as an ally, but it doesn't mean that it can get away from its only responsibility, which is defending its citizens.
Boy, you said it so very, very well. Israel's responsibility is to defend its citizens. That means when you're attacked, you take it to the enemy and you destroy them and their ability to attack you. In other words, you just don't protect yourself from the Houthis and Hezbollah. You take it aggressively. We were saying preemptively. Now, whatever, we are long, long past the point of preemptive anything here. But frankly, even when someone threatens you and they've got missiles pointed right down your throat, it really is hard to even describe that as a preemptive attack, in my view. But if you define that as a preemptive attack, Israel should be preemptively attacking. And once the missiles start coming, it's hardly fair to describe it as preemptive. They should wipe out Hezbollah in Lebanon. They should wipe out the Houthis in Yemen insofar as they're capable. And as you point out, they are obviously capable of doing a great deal of damage. Look at what they can, look at the amazing hit on the Hamas leader, targeted assassination in Tehran. Look at like you point out, the sophisticated nature of the operations in Syria. I stand in awe both at the operational ability and the intelligence capacity of Israel. They obviously have superior technology. They obviously have impressive intelligence. And so I think Israel could take out Lebanon and Syria tomorrow. I think to really take out Iran, they would certainly need the military and diplomatic backing of the United Diplomatic as much as anything, backing of the United States, and America could easily help them take out Iran. And surely Britain and the United States have a serious interest in taking out the Houthis. It seems to me the civilized world has a very clear enemy now, and any hesitation on the part of Israel is wrong. In fact, given these last months of the Biden-Harris administration and a confusion really about who's in control for the next few months in America, Israel should take advantage of that moment, should do everything they can to aggressively take out their enemies in Lebanon and Syria and Yemen right now. This is your moment. Jump on it. There is no real leadership. Yes, they'll complain bloody murder. Yes, it's the, oh, how you do it. Israel has a right to, how does Miss Harris say it? She says, yes, Israel has a right to defend itself, but how they do it is important. Well, that is telling Israel they have no right to defend themselves. And it's so vague and it's so meaningless. Now is the time to strike. Force American policymakers to take a stand, a moral stand, but you can only do that by taking a moral stand properly yourself, Israel. Take advantage of this moment. And so whoever becomes president in January, we're in a whole different spot. That's what I would advise Israel right now to do. Take it hard to Lebanon and Syria and Yemen. Right now, there's a vacuum in American leadership.
A few months ago, when there was the drone attack from Yemen that killed an Israeli citizen, we talked about Israel's response, which was, I believe, a day or two later. I don't remember the exact timeline, which was impressive, or at least impressive looking, because there was a lot of fire there. But uh, but yeah, again, the fact that something is impressive or is a setback for the enemy isn't sufficient. Look, in some cases, all you can do is set them back. If you're Ukraine and you're fighting against Russia, that's the best you can hope for, and Ukraine is doing that. Which again,
Aiding Russia.
yeah,
Ukraine is actually doing the sort of thing that a real defense calls for. Look, they attack you in your country, you attack them on their territory. Same with Lebanon.
yeah,
Same exact thing with Lebanon here. If Israel occupied the whole of southern Lebanon right now, it would be perfectly justified. And it would be the appropriate thing to do to clear all of those Hamas monsters out of Lebanon. That's what needs to happen.
Hezbollah.
Hezbollah, excuse me, thank you. Hezbollah.
And Yeah, and again, look, that ball of fire in Yemen was clearly not big enough because
Oh,
we see that they still have the ability. By the way, Yemen fired a rocket a few days ago at Israel as well. It landed in Saudi Arabia, so I guess it didn't uh, you know
Houthis are in conflict with the Saudis anyway, so
Yeah, although I think this was intended to hit Israel. But but yeah, and so again, what is Israel waiting for? I'm look, Israel responds to things sometimes days, usually not immediately. So sometimes it'll take a
off
few days.
a year. In just a couple, ladies and gentlemen, in 3 weeks, we will have the anniversary of October 7th. A year, the better part of a year has transpired, and Hamas is still around and kicking. Sinwar is still alive. Sinwar is still alive almost a year later. What can
Yeah.
possibly excuse that, Mr. Netanyahu?
Yeah, if you told me, October 10th or 11th of last year that, we would be preparing our October 7th episodes of the Daily Objective and the reality show, I would say, yeah, we'll have episodes reminding people of what happened and of the war. But yeah, even though I knew Israel wasn't planning to fully do what's necessary, it is shocking that Israel is allowing its enemies to continue to attack it and not fully doing what is necessary. And again, in the case of Yemen, you know, when we see Israel's response in the next few days, it'll probably do something like it did previously. Hopefully, it's visually impressive so that I can retweet videos of it. But will it cause the damage that Israel needs to cause to the Houthis, which is such damage that makes it impossible for them to continue? Sorry for the spoiler, but the answer is no. It's not going to cause that damage, and this is unfortunately how Israel is fighting. Thank you, PC, for the super chat. PC says El Al has missile defenses. That's why I chose them. Virgin also had flights. Yeah, that is true, and that's a good reason. PC also says that Virgin was 2,000 pounds for upper class, which is the only seats it had. That's a problem with Israel because there are fewer airlines flying. The seats are more expensive. There are fewer seats. Let me know if you need a referral code for a credit card that gets you points, and then you can pay for those nice seats at the front of the plane with miles. But yeah, James, look, we expect to see some sort of response, right? Netanyahu said there will be a response. Usually, when he says something like that, some sort of action is taken. It could be they've already picked out the empty shed somewhere in Yemen that they're going to bomb, and hopefully there's some oil there that can make yeah.
No, but you have to take it to their leadership, to their rank and file troops, to their equipment, to their hardware, to their capacity to do this. And more than that, you have to shatter the psychology of the people behind it. As you keep pointing out so properly, it is the populations that support these monsters. So we have to stop worrying about the populations that support these monsters. And that's what the whole obsession of the West is. Oh, we can't kill these civilian, quote, civilians. These people don't distinguish between civilians and military. These people do the most horrific atrocities, but we in the West have to take extra special care not to hit civilians that they have subjected to danger through their own aggressive actions. It is obscene, it is perverse. We have to take out their troops, we have to take out their leadership, we have to take out their military hardware, and we have to do it without regard to the populations that support them, to psychologically show them that sort of thing will continue should they ever think of doing this again. That is the only way to address it, fully, thoroughly, and absolutely, with a psychologically crushing dimension to it. That's the only way I have of
Um,
putting
Yeah, and PC says, PC says if Israel did damage, the world will scream. Yeah, the world screams when Israel doesn't do damage. And
it.
look, if this rocket or a future rocket hits a plane, because it's not a big if, it wasn't that far. If it hits a plane, a civilian commercial jet, and kills a bunch of people in the plane, maybe people on the ground, you will hear condemnations and saying, look, civilians on both sides are innocent, and yeah, it's good to stand with the Palestinian people, but maybe try to avoid civilian casualties. Look, and by the way, that's another thing. If it did hit a plane, Israel's response for the same exact action, a rocket being fired towards the airport, just more successfully, but with the same action and intention, Israel would respond in a way that would be much closer to decisive against Yemen. So why is Israel waiting for more cases of mass death on its side in order to act against the enemy?
That is an obscene dereliction of the government's responsibility towards its own people. If you have attacks and you've successfully prevented them from killing people, you do not wait. You do not wait for your own people to die. You do not wait for innocent people on a commercial airliner to die who just want to visit Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. You don't wait for hundreds of people to be shot down out of the air in an airplane before you take action. No, once the attacks start happening, you go after them before they kill hundreds of civilians in a commercial aircraft. What the hell? I mean, what we're saying is, I'm sorry, we have to die. Innocent Western civilians and Israeli citizens have to die before. And notice this was also the thing. When we had that Tel Aviv attack, it was only when that man got killed in that apartment building that so all those other attacks, which weren't fatal, no, Israel, in a sense, was responsible for that one man's death because they hadn't taken the earlier attacks more seriously and been more aggressive about the Houthis and been more aggressive about Hezbollah. You don't wait for people to die when the bullets start flying in your direction. You fire back.
Yeah, look, I know we sound like a broken record, but look, the fact is, from October 7th to today, Israel has been attacked from Gaza, from the West Bank, from Lebanon, from Syria, from Jordan, from Iran, from Yemen. Uh, there's a reason why this is all happening, and the reason isn't because Israel is being too aggressive in its war to prevent future October 7th from happening and to release the hostages. It is because it is fighting with kid gloves. It's because it is feeding the enemy. It is showing the enemy, if you attack us, we will help you. Israel is not sending food and medicine to random places around the world. It is sending it to the people who attacked it on October 7th. and it is sending that while also doing everything it can to avoid civilian casualties. Everything it can means sending Israeli soldiers to a certain death. Hundreds of Israelis died sent by Israel because the Palestinians want to kill Israelis. That is not the way you show the enemy that you will not accept their terms, considering the fact that their terms are exterminating you. The way you show them that you don't accept their terms is by eliminating the threat from their side, making the life for anybody who is just a bystander so miserable that they will say, I will not accept the rule of people who want to make me miserable by attacking someone else. Thank you, Jonathan, for the super chat. James, parting thoughts?
You said it brilliantly. You said it brilliantly, my brother. That you don't. I mean, it's really it's obscene. As I say, an obscene dereliction of Israel's responsibility as a government to its citizens, isn't it? You don't wait for people to die. People, when the bullets start coming in your direction, when the missiles and rockets start coming, I don't care if it lands and hits and kills. Whether a Bedouin child in the one Bedouin child in the direct attack from Iran on Israel, or if it's one man in Tel Aviv because of a Houthi attack, I don't know. Or if it's tens of thousands of Israelis in northern Israel completely displaced because of Hezbollah's attacks. You don't have to wait for someone to die, ladies and gentlemen. Please, please, Israel, do not wait for hundreds of people to die. Please take decisive action now. Don't sacrifice, don't buy into this moral obscenity of altruism that says we've got to die and sacrifice more to prove our moral superiority before we can do anything in response. That is evil.
James, you've watched some of Game of Thrones, but not all of it, right?
Correct.
How much do you remember, more or less? How many seasons or how many episodes?
I would say about a third of it.
Well, Alejandro and I both watched the whole thing repeatedly, and we have a lot to say. And we're actually gonna we have a lot to say about the characters and trying to apply some sort of objectivism inspired moral judgment to the characters, which is not easy, and I'm going to explain the problems with it. We're also going to tie it in to the war and how you deal with wars, because something that there's no shortage of in Game of Thrones is wars. So yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. Alejandro and I are both big fans. Some of you hopefully read Alejandro's Substack article on ARCUK Substack about Game of Thrones. If you haven't, you should. And
Say, if you guys aren't aware of the Substack that they've got going on here at ARCUK, you've got to be aware of it. There are some really interesting, moving, factually important, brilliantly argued, and oftentimes emotionally moving articles. Do check out Razi's Substack for ARCUK. It is worth it, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, and a lot more is coming soon there. But the reality show Extra with Alejandro and myself talking about Game of Thrones, judging the characters, judging their actions, judging how wars are fought in Game of Thrones is coming up right after this show. For members, there is a Zoom link. You should have it, and for YouTube members, there is a regular YouTube link through which you can watch it. Yeah, even if you haven't, well, if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, there are spoilers. So if you do intend to watch it, maybe there's going to be a recording. You can watch it sometime in the future. If you haven't watched it and don't intend to, or have watched it, then this should be interesting. Thanks,
And
James. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Daily Objective and the reality show.
be safe, really.